Hello, and welcome to Dedicated Devoted. I'm your host, Jared Columbell.
And I'm your co-host, Cora Columbell.
Cora, on today's episode, I'm going to let you do all the talking.
Yeah, right.
And all the introduction.
Oh, no, thank you.
And all the bantering.
Mm-hmm.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
You can't respond with just single responses like that.
No, I'm ready. Let's go.
No, we're going. This is happening right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's recording. You don't see that recording?
Yeah, but normally I thought the music stopped a lot sooner.
No, that's how long it goes.
Oh, wow.
I typically am talking straight through that intro. You know that, right?
I do now, because that was a lot of music. Okay.
Now you know the pressure on me when I'm trying to make sure that we get through the intro.
Yeah, you do great.
So welcome to another episode of Dedicated Devoted. This is a Christian podcast where we aim to help others live a dedicated, devoted life to Jesus Christ. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about some things that we actually touched on in the last episode. Do you recall any of that?
Yes, I remember wanting to talk about a newfound family member.
Newfound family member.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then also our housing journey.
Oh, yeah. That's
right?
a good one.
Can we can't call ourselves unhoused, right?
No, because we technically have housing.
Well,
No,
okay,
technically, we do have housing.
Yeah, that's new terminology for, I guess, homelessness is now unhoused.
Well, it's non-offensive.
Non-offensive.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the other thing, though, is there's definitely a lot that we've been wanting to tell people, but I feel like even me being more public on like Facebook and some of these online platforms, I have not really told a lot of people our situation.
Yeah, you know what? I had a friend this week that had mentioned wanting to get off of social media, that it seemed to be poisonous for this individual. And I got to say, not everything has to be shared with the world.
No, definitely not.
Right? We don't have to post everything out there, but I do thoroughly enjoy being able to engage in the podcast and talk about things that I think are edifying for others. And so, yeah, definitely an opportunity for us to share a little bit. And these are things that I think are noteworthy. They're things, in my perspective, it's God weaving himself through our lives.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of really interesting things kind of coming together and being pieced together because we've been on a journey for some time now, right? We're on this journey from New Mexico to South Dakota and acclimating to a new state and figuring out what to do and who people are and where we belong and what home truly is, right?
Yeah, well, and I think like it's been so far such a short one when you think about time-wise, but it feels like it's been a long journey.
It does.
And it hasn't even been like 7 months yet. I think we're at 6 months now, but it feels like it's been forever, but you know, at the same time, it's like it's barely half a year.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I think I experienced early on in this journey down here to South Dakota was a lot of what's the word for it? Homesickness.
Oh yeah.
I had a lot of homesickness. New Mexico was always my home, and I just felt really homesick.
Yeah, which I was kind of surprised because I think like a lot of people out there, my family and friends, assumed that I would be more homesick than you would, but I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm homesick or I've felt really homesick. Anytime you and the kids have mentioned it, I guess it just doesn't feel the same to me. I think there's a lot of stuff that I miss, but not necessarily miss being home, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think there's probably some things here that you find energizing.
Oh, yeah.
And so that makes it, I guess, easier.
Yeah, because I think, you know, before everything just kind of felt very similar. And here it's like new stuff all the time, you know, especially being so new here. It's definitely been a lot of new places that I've gone to, and that's been exciting for me.
There is a nice part about being able to explore and discovering, and I definitely enjoy that as well. I still miss what I call home.
Yeah, well, and the good part about what you're just saying about the discovering part is I've been able to look at neighborhoods that I like to. You know, I'll go through neighborhoods because we're talking about housing and get to see like, oh, I would love to live in a neighborhood like this. And then I've driven to some parts of town and think, oh, looks a little rough, right? And that's kind of been good because it's hard to know where you want to be. You know, you think you know where you want to be, and then it's tougher, I think, than it's tougher when you have options, you know? And I don't think that was always the case with us. We didn't always have options on where we wanted to live. And I feel like now we do. And it's hard.
Well, the interesting part about that is even though you say that we have options, sometimes those options are truly not options.
Mm-hmm.
I think what God has been showing lately is that he has a different plan for us.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's been part of my prayer as we've been going through this journey is, God, where do you want us to be? Give us clarity and wisdom and what we're supposed to be doing and help us align our will with your will. There's places that I obviously want to live, but that doesn't mean that God's going to open that door for me, which has actually been our experience since we've been down here.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
Right.
I think one of the places that I like the most that I would like love to live in Sioux Falls, it's also an area where you don't have much room. So I knew that that's, even if I got my wish in some sense, it just wouldn't be what we all want, you know?
Well, that's the key. It's you had mentioned your wish.
Mm-hmm.
There's such a balance of trying to find the right place where you need to be. Right? Kids have requirements. I have requirements. You have requirements. And then God obviously is maneuvering in our lives to try to get us to be where we want to be. And so we had mentioned originally on, I think it was several podcasts ago, that we are on this journey of trying to find what we call home. This is officially, so South Dakota is officially our home, right?
Yes, definitely.
We are Sioux Fallians. Is that what they call them?
I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know that.
Fantastic. We are Sioux Fallians, so that is great. But we're still trying to figure out where we belong in the city. What's been really interesting here is understanding the east versus the west versus the north, and everybody kind of has their own take on things, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there's, I guess, a few sayings. The east side is the best side, right? Everybody has just a little bit of a different perspective based on where they were kind of raised up.
Yeah.
We've come across some people who have shared with us where to live, and I think we've kind of discovered our liking in this city.
Definitely.
Okay, so what side of the city do you like?
Oh, I like a few different sides, actually. I don't even know what it's considered. So I like downtown, obviously. I don't know if that side has a name or anything like that. I just, you know.
I'm sure it does. It's the McKinnon Park area, right?
Yeah, but I like that side. I like the east side. I mean, I haven't really explored the west side too much. I've gone over there a few times. We've checked it out, but I don't know. There's a few stores maybe on that side that I like, but there's some areas that just feel more congested. And then I think as soon as you go more east and more south, it's not as congested. So you can get more land and better schools too. So I do like that part.
Yeah, it's a very interesting city, especially because you got these smaller suburbs that kind of just melt right into the main city of Sioux Falls. And so you got Brandon, you have T, you have Harrisburg. Those all kind of meld. They're not very far from what we call or what is Sioux Falls. And what I've come to recognize is, and we've kind of been looking in different areas, and we honed in on more of the east side.
Yeah.
And then we decided, and I think we both decided that the west side didn't work for us, but then we started pursuing something on the west side. So I think right now it's very interesting on where I think we're going to land. And this is kind of where we ended the episode last week is what is God doing in our life and what does finding home actually look like? And what is it that you want versus me versus the kids and where are we ultimately going to end up? And so this has been a really interesting journey in my perspective because it's been, as you mentioned, a very long but a very short journey. Feels like for, only 6 months, a lot has really happened and condensed in that time frame.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's just been a lot. So I think I was thinking about this the other day. Like it's the longest that we've rented in a while, because we pretty much have been homeowners for a long time since our early 20s. And so it's just the first time in a long time that we've had to rent. And I'm not a big fan of it.
Well, this is part of the conversation today on how do we invest our money? Where should our money be going? And so we're going to get to the point where we're going to discuss where we're landing because we actually have some pretty cool news that's happening right now. And so we're going to have an opportunity to share with our listeners what's happening in our lives, where we think we're going to land. But kind of going back in time a little bit ago, we had to sell our home, and that was a pretty nice homestead. We had pretty much everything that we needed there. I had just built Mega Garage.
Yes.
Mega Garage was finally done, and that was one of my big passion projects, and I never really got to use the garage. But we had to just relinquish everything, and we didn't know what South Dakota was going to hold, and we got down here, and this is just kind of a quick recap. We got down here, and Cora and I did some house hunting, and so we identified a home that we thought was going to work for us and the family and the dogs, and we needed pretty big acreage.
Yeah.
And so this home that we were anticipating on buying, it ended up having some issues. And so we actually had to back out of that, and then we had to find a place to rent, and that was kind of a godsend in and of itself, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That thing came online that day. We ended up, and it's what we're living in now. It's a brand new home. We ended up renting it right away. Now, I will say it's a little bit tough because, you got neighbors who are close, and you got to get along with those neighbors, and some of the neighbors aren't so friendly. Many of them are, right?
Yeah, there's a few friendly ones. Not all of them, but there's a few that are pretty friendly, and then some just stick to themselves, which is fine.
Well, it becomes the how do you treat your neighbor engagement idea, and it's very hard, right? It's very hard having neighbors and be neighborly and trying to show the love of Christ to people who are just difficult. I think that's the best way of putting it, because we've had historically some pretty good neighbors. Wouldn't you agree?
Totally. Yeah, I feel like we've also have been really good neighbors, so it just has worked out both ways, I guess.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways for sure. So kind of going through that timeline there, we ended up being in the place that we're at now, and we still have been looking for a place that we're going to call home. And so in this short period of time, we never thought that we were going to be renting, there's no problem with renting if that's your desire, right?
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of people who rent and it totally works for them. But one of the things that I don't feel is connected to something that I don't own.
Yeah, I think that makes it a lot harder, especially wanting to put stuff up and, just kind of wanting to be more comfortable. It's just different when it feels like a borrowed house versus you own it,
Yeah, this is one of those weird things that I think, depending on how you view it, there's a couple of different outcomes. So just by like a thought framework, I'm more of a capitalist. And I've always had this deep belief in home ownership. I think it gives you an opportunity to create some equity. You have the ability to generate wealth because of that equity. You can leverage your credit score in order to be able to get something that you normally wouldn't be able to get. I think we have a really great system as a capitalist nation and a free market nation. And so I've always had this idea that home ownership is a really great tool in order to generate wealth. But I'm getting to the point in my life now where I'm starting to recognize with the home prices, the way that they are, it's almost like even when you own it, depending on how you build it, how much equity you have in it, how you approach it, in this case, we're kind of coming into a really expensive market.
Yeah.
And the prices are what they are. We've been hunting, right? And it's been super difficult.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people say that, the cost of living is cheaper out here or pretty inexpensive, or you can find some good stuff. I think you and I have found some stuff that seemed like a pretty good deal, but they all needed a lot of work, and they didn't check all the boxes, So there was some houses that we could agree on, but then it's like, oh, but it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that, or it's not the best school district, or it just didn't seem to work for everybody.
Well, the journey that we've been on has been really interesting because I think we've traversed all across the potential options.
Yeah.
And so we have a great realtor. She's just been fantastic dealing with us. I think we appeared to be the most, what's the word for it? We appeared to be the most easy clients initially, and we probably became very difficult clients.
Oh, I think you need to speak for yourself on that one.
No, both of us.
Oh, I don't think I'm difficult.
Well, no, our experience. Think about it. Like we went from, we looked at homes for 2 days and we selected one.
Yeah.
And we said, this is the one.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, done deal. And we were very confident about it. And I know that she was reaffirmed by our decisions, and she felt great that we were like honed in on what we wanted.
Yes.
But then that didn't work out.
Yeah, no.
And then since that period of time, we have gone from 2-bedroom houses, 6-bedroom houses, all across the spectrum, right?
Yeah, nice out of town, not so nice out of town.
Everything. We've
everything.
explored everything.
We looked at fixer uppers, looked at brand new, looked at a lot of different not houses that are not quite finished, which is pretty common here in South Dakota to only finish one level, and then you're kind of on your own with the bottom level. So that's one thing that's kind of was shocking to me.
Yeah, and so we've explored, in my opinion, all potential options, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. The West Side is an area that you and I we didn't gravitate towards, and we went down there and we said we don't really like it. It doesn't fit us, and this isn't an area that we're going to be in. Yet I had still explored some options on moving up there, and that was one of the potential options. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second, but we've gone all across the spectrum in terms of what has been available and what because we've had penny pinching moments, and then we've also had, well, if we pay a little bit more, we'll get everything that we want. And I think what I've really been able to dial in is what kind of life do I want to be living for the next 5 years?
Yeah.
Right. I've been able to hunker down in my career to a point where I can really just focus on my career rather than trying to pinch pennies. Most of my home ownership years have been about generating equity, fixing stuff up, trying to make it be, a little bit nicer, figuring out how to make that investment a little bit more, right?
I totally agree.
And now it's my mindset has changed a little bit because my goals are different.
And you're getting older.
I'm getting older.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's actually quite hard on my body. I used to be able to do these remodel projects no problem.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about that too, but that's the other thing is you don't really have the time for that. And I think that's the conclusion that we both came to is like we could get something for a really good deal and remodel it and make it great. But then, again, we'd still be living in a certain situation and have to deal with, things torn up. And I just, again, with your schedule, you just don't have the time to be doing all that stuff anymore. I think there was a time that you could do all that, but I think as you've gotten older and then, things have kind of changed with work, I think it's a little bit harder to just decide to bring on a lot of projects on yourself. It's kind of easy just to get something that's done.
Yeah, and I have a little tidbit that a friend had shared with me, and it really stuck with me. He had this saying, "Pay for peace."
Yeah.
And really what that meant is there's some things that you're going to have to spend a little extra on, but they're going to bring you peace. And so we had the opportunity to build.
Yeah, we did.
And what did we do with that opportunity? What did we agree on?
Well, I know we decided not to, but I think we went back and forth on that too, on what to do. But I think at the same time, we thought we're going to be pushing it. It's going to be a lot of stress. Yeah. And so it's like it's going to be stressful on you. It's going to be stressful on me, on the kids. And then, if there's things that we have to deal with that, we end up not liking something, like it just seemed like a lot of stuff could go wrong. And I think moving to a new state, being really new here, you just trying to get everything rolling at work, it just didn't seem like the smart thing to now bring something bigger upon us.
Yeah. And what I'm really trying to do at this point in my life is enjoy myself and really invest myself into what I was brought down here to do, which is to run a business successfully.
Yeah.
And so building a house, we get exactly what we want, yet it's not why we're down here. And so I think that avoiding all the heartache and headache with that was a really important thing as part of our decision. I was also very curious in what other people were creating. Being in the construction industry, it's very easy to fixate on certain things and what you want, but it's also really cool and fun and interesting seeing how other people create, right? How other homes are created and designed and architected and the finishes. And so we've had this opportunity to look at a lot of different homes and the finishes and, some of the ingenuity that's kind of in them.
Yeah, and I think that's been the really nice part about going and looking at houses is some of them you can tell like the craftsmanship is just so good. It's just amazing at how well they put everything together. And then there's some that we've looked at that I'm like, my gosh, like your checklist is just huge. Not checklist, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That they're gonna have to fix. Where it's like, gosh, I don't even know if it's worth it because they're probably not gonna fix it to your standard, especially since their standards are so low to begin with. I know some of them were like brand new and the doors wouldn't quite open and it just seemed like a mess. Or the floors were all scraped up and, so the new stuff and the old stuff. So it's just interesting to see how much pride some of these builders take in their work, and some of them, I don't know. Looks like there's too many people working on a house for it to have really good, them to pay good attention to detail.
Yeah. So one of the houses, and this is a good segue into sort of our different journeys on what's been happening recently. So, as part of this process, I had been looking around, and we're used to slab on grade down here. There's a lot of ranch style homes with basements. And so as part of this journey, we've been looking at different homes. And what has been really interesting is there was a house that I saw when I was originally down here by a certain builder, and I was real envious of that one. And I'm like, wow, if I could only have that house, if I could build that house. And it turns out that I have the set of plans because my company was the one that took on that project. And so I had the opportunity. But what was really interesting about that is in the pictures, it looked really great. And then I was able to get a little bit of information from somebody in that industry who was selling homes. And they just happened to know the person who was selling the home that I really enjoyed. And there was 3 of them built. And they're like, yeah, they look great in pictures, but in actuality, they had a lot of little errors, and they just added up to the point where it wasn't good quality. And so throughout this this journey, we've been able to look at different things. And so that actually led us over to the west side.
Yeah.
So we went back to the west side, which is a little bit different than the area that we're in. And so what I did is I ended up looking back at this home that I really enjoyed, and there was one right around the corner, but it was much different than the one I was looking at. And so I engaged in a process with that builder. He happened to be somebody that was affiliated with my company, so somebody that we were helping out and providing products for. And so we started engaging in a back and forth, a negotiation without the realtors, just figuring out how much he wanted to sell this house for and how much I was willing to pay. And because it was somebody that was affiliated with my company, it was a very easy, hey, let's just have a conversation about what you want to sell it for. And he already had it up on the market, and I had a number in my head, and I told him what that number was, but I had some things that I wanted to add, right?
Yeah, and he was still building stuff. Like, he's still building it to this day. I mean,
yeah, it's a project
just for
in progress.
The people listening, it wasn't done yet, so we still don't even know like how the little details are coming out, but we got to see pretty much it framed.
Well, what I recognized about this house is it reminded me of the home that we built in Tijedas. And it had a lot of the same, I guess you could say, value engineering principles behind it. And it was slab on grade, and it was actually very interesting. To me, it was a very interesting home, and it piqued my interest enough to where I really did think and saw myself living there.
Yeah.
And so we started engaging in a back and forth negotiation on price. And what ended up happening was we couldn't settle. We were about $2,000 away from what I wanted and what he wanted. And so what we decided to do is just kind of part ways.
Yeah.
Which is hard for me because I thought that was going to be our home.
Yeah, but I think you and I have both learned over the years that if something doesn't work out, it's just totally meant to be. Because we've had so many different instances that have happened like this where we felt really sad at the moment and discouraged because it didn't happen, and then later on something way better came our way, and we were just like so happy that it didn't happen because what we got was way better.
Yeah, and that was part of what you and I were encouraging one another with, because the first home that we were expecting to buy down here, we didn't get, and we knew something better was going to come. Something better is going to come. Something better is going to come. Yeah.
Well, we ended up not going through on it because it had issues.
Yeah, and I think that was a blessing.
Yeah.
This house, though, I definitely saw myself in it. I thought it would have been very fitting, and I was a little saddened by it, but I was also reaffirmed that that's not where God wanted us to be. Something better is going to come. Your mom, so Mama Mary, was the one who always had that saying, oh, there's going to be something better, right? And that always used to frustrate me when we were younger and poorer, because it's so easy to just tell somebody something better is going to come along.
Yeah.
Right? Our first home, we stayed in it for 8, almost 9 years, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
For quite some time, right?
Yeah.
And so it's hard when you're anticipating and wanting. And so this home did not work out, and it was a little disheartening, but I knew it was supposed to happen for a reason. And so I didn't push it. I thought that, this isn't where God wants us to be. And so we went from home number 1, not working, engaging in this in this process to try to buy this other home on the west side. So that's home number 2. We've been looking all across South Dakota as we've been out here. And for my listeners, I've been very unsure on if I wanted to actually re-enter into the housing market.
Yeah, because we thought about just, just maybe renting and see how that goes,
Well, a big part of that is we could invest a chunk of money back into a home, or we could just be able to not, I guess you could say, have a little bit more freedom with renting, where you don't have to fix stuff and, you don't have to pay property taxes and homeowners insurance. And so there's a lot of money to save there.
Yeah.
Now, here is where I landed before we talk about where God kind of led us on the next step. Where I landed was this. I really was thinking, and this is just me speaking aloud, that it would be more advantageous for me to put my money and tuck it away in the stock market, because the stock market's doing so well. And I thought, what's the point in buying a home when we can just be eternal renters and I can make more money on my money?
Yeah.
Just tuck it away in the stock market and then things will be fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was my thought.
Yeah, I know.
But I still struggled in my heart. I felt like God was wanting me to still explore these opportunities to be able to find a home. And you know what conclusion I arrived at that changed my mind?
Mm-mm.
I just didn't like money.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
I was like, that's
I still wanted to make money in the stock market.
Yeah.
What came to my mind and to my heart, and I believe God planted this seed, is that as the woman of the house, you needed a home to nurture.
Yeah.
And I realized I could make some money in the stock market, but you can't pay for the kind of peace that I believe the decisions we're making right now are going to yield.
Yeah. And kind of like you mentioned earlier, where we're staying now, this rental house, it's a brand new house. So no one's ever lived in it, which is really nice. It's 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2 living areas. And the property itself is a good size. Like the backyards, the kids can play. It's fenced in, and it's a decent size lot. But the thing that I do not care for is it doesn't feel like my home. It does feel like it just things just don't work for me. I have a good house, big house, because it's a pretty good size, house that we're living in now, but it doesn't feel like it's my house.
It's not home. It's a house. It's not home.
Yeah, I mean, and I could put all my stuff in it, and it still doesn't feel like, wow, this feels like a cozy living room. This feels like a nice kitchen. Like it's just not me. So that's been kind of the hard part, is I just don't really like a lot of this stuff. I don't like the way the house feels, even though, and I don't like okay, it's not that I don't like the neighborhood, because this is a nice neighborhood, but again, a lot of you guys don't know this, but around us and here in Sioux Falls, there's so much building out here. Like you'll see houses go up constantly. And the neighborhood that we're in right now, they just finished this complex, or they're finishing a complex in front of us. And all beside us, there's just houses going up everywhere. So since we've been here, from the first place that we stayed at to this rental now, it's just been construction nonstop. So as soon as I wake up, you hear hammers, you hear machines, and that's just been,
which I love. We see things a little different.
Yeah, well, because I'm in my house though. Like if it's your job, that's different. Go to work and hear hammers and machines, and that's great. But I'm in my bed, woken up by hammers or people talking, and and there's trash everywhere. I don't like that, because a lot of the contractors out here don't pick up after themselves, so there's just garbage constantly flowing in the wind. So I'm just not a fan of that. Like I said, neighborhood's decent. I just don't really care for this area that much,
Yeah, and at a certain point, I knew that a good portion of our enjoyment and happiness, specifically your enjoyment and happiness here, was going to revolve around having a place that you could say, this is my home, and this is where I'm landing, and I'm going to be here. We're not going to move again. This moving is killing me, right? We've had quite a bit of this moving experience, and to do it over and over is going to be very tiring.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing for myself too is I feel like coming to South Dakota was a big, big step. Not just because I've lived in New Mexico my whole life, but because I had a lot of friends, a lot of acquaintances
Yeah.
in New Mexico. And so to move from somewhere where some of my close friends will always tease that like everybody knows me, when we in our small little town, like, or everybody, that kind of thing. But here it's like it's almost like I'm a different person here, I don't know. I'm not as social as I was in New Mexico.
Not yet.
Not yet. I will be, but I'm still trying to kind of figure out who. I feel like I'm more picky here. Like I just want to meet the right people. Where in New Mexico I knew a lot of people, and even there I was selective on who I made my true friends. But I think here I'm even more selective. That if I maybe ask someone to hang out and they don't ever respond back to me, like I just leave it. I'm not desperate for friendship.
For our listeners, one thing that I can share with you is this is kind of my ongoing joke with Cora. So she'll share these things with me that she's not like really looking for friends right now. She's being very selective. And so my ongoing joke is that she's not taking applications. I'll go, Cora's not taking applications for friends right now. And then she'll come back the next day and be like, hey, I just met somebody. And I'm like, I thought you said you're not taking applications for friends. Every single time you've said that, you've come back and you're like, I just made a new friend, a new best friend, right?
No, not no new best friends. Not here yet, but that's people just, when I say I don't want to meet new friends, that's when people just start talking to me. And I'm
I
like,
know.
shoot.
That's my point, right?
It's
Every
terrible.
time I hear it, I go, oh man, here we go again, right?
Yeah, because we've had that happen a few times here where I'm like, I don't really want to talk to anybody. And then someone talks to me and, anyways.
Yeah, I will say that this portion of our journey trying to find a home, what I've struggled with a little bit is materialism. I felt like when we didn't have the house, God was teaching us something. We were able to shed most of our material possessions. And when we didn't buy the house and then we got the rental, I felt like this is actually a little bit of I guess you could say a blessing in disguise, where God's given us an opportunity to not have those liabilities hanging above us as much. And there was a little bit of comfort in that. And so, one of the things that came to my mind is the verse in the Bible where it states that foxes have no holes, birds of the air have no nest, but the Son of Man, or they do have holes, they do have nests, but the Son of Man doesn't have a place to lay his head. And I thought, God's so good to us for giving us a place that we can call home. And it's not like there's something wrong with wanting that, right? Our ultimate destination is heaven. And we talked about this in great detail this week, which I just think it was super rich on knowing that death isn't the end for the Christian. And we talked about this with Transformative Hope last week, but that really our ultimate destination is heaven. But back to the housing situation, I'm looking at it a little bit different with some wisdom. God, in my opinion, was imparting on my heart to give my family a place that they could call home. And the rental wasn't doing it. It's not doing it. And we've had a little bit of heartache that I won't explore too much on the show, more than I care to mention with it. And so all I know is the next step needs to be a place that we really feel like we can dig deep and then grow our roots there.
Well, and I guess to put it in another way, since we're not really going to share it, we have given up a lot to be here.
We have. We've lost a lot to be here.
We've lost a lot to be here. So it's like if we're going to be here and we're going to enjoy ourselves, we might as well choose where we want to be. And obviously with God's help, we'll be where he wants us to be. But I just feel like by holding back on some stuff, it just want it to feel worth it,
Yeah.
So it's important.
So the interesting part of this journey is first home did not work. It had issues. Mm-hmm. The second home, we couldn't agree on a $2,000 difference.
Me and the homeowner.
Me and the homeowner. And so we decided this wasn't going to be for us, but we knew God was going to have something better. And in each one of these, you could call it circumstances of rejection or things not working. I knew there was going to be a rich nugget in there.
Yeah.
And so the second house didn't work out, and I totally thought it was going to work out. So we kept hunting, and then something popped up, right?
Yeah.
And I said, we're going to hunt. We're not going to, sit on the sidelines. This house popped up on the market. It looked very fitting. Price was right. Super clean. We were one of the first people to go and see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Totally fit the bill. And you actually have a little bit of an interesting story there because a peer of our realtor had to jump in, and you had seen that he had a heart monitor on.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because I just got my heart monitor off not too long ago, and I had to wear it for 2 weeks. And I know only a few people know about that too because I originally posted it online, but then, like you said, not everyone needs to know all your business. I took it off right away, so only like one of my friends did message me and asked if everything was okay. But then I told my close friends and family, knew about it. But yeah, so he showed up to show us the house since our realtor at that time had just had a procedure done and wasn't feeling 100%. And I just saw his shirt. And, again, I would have never noticed had I not just gotten mine off. But you could see a little circular thing right on his chest. And so as he's showing us, I'm like, I didn't know how to say it. Again, I'm usually pretty bold and just saying whatever. So I kind of waited for a little bit. And then I asked him about the heart monitor. And he's like, how did you know? Like, how do you know? And I'm like, oh, I just got mine off. And so him and I were talking about that. And I was just kind of amazed by his story because for me, I was just having these heart palpitations and I had to get one, obviously I was in the emergency room and all that. But this guy, I mean, his story was just, it was way worse, where I just thought to myself, I mean, I just felt kind of thankful in the moment to think like, man, I'm just so glad it wasn't that, I think he had a stroke and and he was only like a few years older than us, I would say, maybe 5 years older than us. He's a pretty young guy. And when he was telling me about all his symptoms and all these tests and all this stuff that he's dealing with, I just thought, man, I'm just so thankful, So,
Well, it's really interesting the people that God has put in our path through this home search journey.
yeah.
And so that was one of them. And I felt like this was a conversation that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And so that was great. I was glad that you two were able to talk about it. And he seemed to really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so I felt like that was a very important connection that we were supposed to make.
Yeah. Well, and I think because considering all the stuff that he had went through, he still didn't have answers, And so that's kind of what was, I think, hard is they still don't know why I believe a lot of it had happened to him. Where in my case, I think we're getting more answers, but for him, it was really a lot of unknown stuff and scary unknown stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think it was great that you were able to interact with him.
Yeah.
So that house turned out to be super fitting for us.
Mm-hmm.
On the first day that they put it up on the market, we made an offer, and we made the offer at their asking price.
Yes.
Like, this is the ideal scenario. You have a buyer who comes in, they offer you exactly what you ask for. We've had one of these instances, and it was a godsend.
I think we've had it twice, actually.
Yeah, and it's taken, though, the first one was a little bit quicker than the second one, but we've had 2 homes that they came in and offered exactly what we were asking for.
Yeah.
And that feels really great. And we went in and we did that. I think we were the first one to put in an offer. And long story short, that one turned out to be weird.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was going to be odd when things seemed to be kind of delayed, especially because we put an offer out there and we knew that the offer is only good for 24 hours. And, the second day, there was things that they were going to take that they didn't specify that they were going to take that were like concreted in, right?
Mm-hmm. Like a basketball
Like
court.
a basketball hoop,
Like a
right?
hoop, yeah.
And it just didn't make any sense. And I already knew it was going to go south. And so on that day, I saw the writing on the wall, and I knew that this house is not going to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of just said, it is what it is. I think I gave you my 2 cents, and I said, if I'm a betting guy, this is what's going to happen. And so that day, I'm going to go off on a tangent a little bit. That day, I was actually bringing my car in to get checked up again. So I wanted to put a new radio system in it, and I did that, I don't know, maybe a month ago now, maybe 6 weeks ago. There ended up being issues with that radio system, and I had to take it back in so that the guy could do some more diagnostics on it. And the day that I ended up taking that vehicle in, I was leaving work. I totally forgot that I was supposed to bring the vehicle in at the end of the day. I was leaving work, and I was like, oh, no, I got to take the car in. So I called you, and I said, hey, I need you to pick me up from the shop. It's down in South Dakota. And so you said, yeah, I'll make my way down there, and I'll pick you up. And so I ended up leaving. And when I arrived there, I waited, and you weren't there yet. and I walked to the street and I waited. And I was like, I don't know where she's at, because you said you were right around the corner. I think you were just ending at the gym.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'll be right there. I'll be right there. Then I got a call from you and you sounded pretty frantic. I thought you got into a car accident. And the interesting thing in this is kind of the reason why I mentioned some of those timelines is how all this kind of came to happen, came to like a head, right? Because I had this desire to get my car system upgraded. I got it upgraded. I chose a certain person because another person that I wanted wasn't available. I really wanted to give this guy a chance too, and I've been super patient with the whole thing. Things have not worked out the way I thought they were going to work out, but I knew that, hey, if I just have patience through this whole thing, it's going to work out. And so I brought it back to him. And then this day, you ended up coming to pick me up. You called me frantic, and this is where I think we start to add a little clarity to what we were talking about in our last podcast episode. So tell us how you got detoured and what you had seen on your detour.
Well, I think I remember what happened. So I was working out at the gym and you were at work, and those two places are very close to each other. So I told you, let me know when you're going to leave, because I figured if we leave from about the same spot, like, we'll be good. I'll be there a little bit after you and everything will be okay. Well, I've been to T like a few times, a handful of times. So I kind of knew how to get there because there's not many roads to it, right? So you called me, said you're leaving, and I said, okay, well, I'll follow you. I'll go there too. And so I started driving, and there's normally a road that we turn on that you can see this big school. And I didn't see that big school. And I thought, I think I'm going the wrong way. I think I've gone a little bit too far. So I had to like make my way. I did go too far. I think I went more south, and this is a little bit more north. So I went one road too far south. And once I got there, I realized that I had to get on the freeway. So I went too far, basically. So I got on the freeway, and I started going back. And I've never gone that way. I've never taken the freeway to get there. It's just been pretty much the side roads. They're real small. And all of a sudden I get to the light, and I'm about to make a left-hand turn, and you're not too far from there. So I'm at the light, and I just kind of happened to glance to my left. And as I did, I saw this thing just kind of hit the floor. And I thought, in that second, I thought it was a pigeon, because I thought I saw its wings like flapping, like it had hit so hard that I thought it fell from the sky and it's dead. So I saw it. But then again, this is all like milliseconds that all this happened, but this still kind of all went through my head.
And this was it was around the overpass of the freeway.
Yeah, so I'm parked, and then over above me is the freeway. So I'm about to go underneath the freeway.
Yeah.
And so again, I thought it was this pigeon that fell from the sky, and it's just flapping its wings, and it's going to die right on the side of the road, which I would have left it there, whatever, So then all of a sudden, I saw a tail. So then I thought, oh my gosh, it's a disgusting rat. I thought it jumped off the top, and then it fell as a rat. And just couples, like not even like I said, milliseconds later, I realized that it was a kitten. This kitten had fallen at least like 15 feet. I'm thinking it wasn't the freeway, but like kind of right underneath it. There's like this big concrete barrier, I guess, or something that yeah. And so this little kitten fell 15 feet from there. I don't know if someone threw it out of their car, or if you see this area, there's no way. There's no houses. There's just no way that this itsy bitsy kitten would have been there, because this thing was tiny, So my car's ready at the light. I turn it off. I didn't even put it in park. I just turned it off, and I ran out of my car, and I grabbed it, and I got back. I put it in my shirt. And that's kind of the funny thing too, is this day when I went to the gym, I was wearing 2 shirts. I never wear 2 shirts, but I grabbed the top shirt and I folded it. So I was holding it like a blanket, and I still had my shirt underneath. So that was kind of weird, just because, again, I don't do that either. And I called you right away, and I started my car. The light turned green, and I went to go get you, and I called you right away, and I'm trying to explain it. But I knew as I was going to explain it, it was sounding like I had gotten in a car accident, because I was kind of
You were hysterical.
Yeah, because I wanted to cry, because it just felt really sad. Like it was like just seeing this little baby just flown out, or thrown. I don't know. I still, again, don't know how she got there. But after I came up to you, like, she was wet. Most of her body was just completely soaked. And again, I don't know what from. And she just seemed real calm, though, for being that she was just by herself. So I picked you up, and I think I let you drive so I could kind of like hold her and pay attention to her. And I had you go back to the area to check to make sure there wasn't more kittens thrown out, because I thought surely there has to just be more. Just, someone threw them all out. We didn't see any more. Took her home, and I gave her a quick little bath because she was so wet and stinky. She was terrible. But
well, one thing I want to mention is you picked me up, and on our way home, I got a text message saying that our offer on that house, that another potential purchaser made the exact offer that we made on the home that we were trying to buy, the one that we offered exactly what they were asking, right?
Oh yeah.
And I knew at that moment that, and what the text message said is, the same offer has been put in. How much more do you want to bid on the house?
Yes.
And we both said, we're out. We're done.
Yeah, because we just didn't really. That was kind of our sign, I think, that like, no, it's not meant to be. Because I think you and I have been in that position before where if it's meant to be, like it just is. And for some reason we both knew, nope, like something just doesn't feel like it's right.
Well, this has happened twice to us where our offers have been rejected, and then they come back and say, hey, it didn't work out. Do you still want to buy the house? And so, but in both of those cases, they were like lowball offers. So we're like, okay, sure. But in this case, I think we both knew, well, the home kind of met all of our needs, but like it needed an extra bedroom.
Yeah.
And it didn't have it. It was more of what I would call a really nice starter home. Mm-hmm. And so I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to bid one extra cent. Like I gave you the best possible offer that you could have. You got exactly what any buyer or any seller would desire to have for a home, which is offer on day one within hours of putting it up for your asking price. So I felt like it was a little bit disingenuous on the seller's parts to not just accept the offer and move on, but definitely a big sign that God didn't want us there.
Yeah.
So we pulled our offer, we went home, and then you cleaned up the cat. Mm-hmm. The long, short story of that is the cat has fully acclimated. Her name, we said last week, was Pagogi. It's not. That has to do with a sandwich that we went to a burger shop, and there's some sandwich named Pagogi, and I called it a Pagogo, and the girl said I got it all wrong. And so anyhow, I think the reason why I mentioned that is because she looks like a sandwich with feet. And what I've come to the conclusion of, and this is yesterday, I said, I think we need to name her Potato, but it wasn't feminine enough. And so we settled on Tater, but in order for it to be a little more feminine, we're just going to call her Tate.
Yeah.
And so Tate, but she does look like a walking potato.
Oh, her belly is, she's such a fatty. She loves food. So it's like the second, like Jared just notices today that she gets really aggressive. Oh, she's the sweetest thing, but sometimes you pick her up and she just starts swatting you and you're like, where's this coming from? This anger.
It's hangriness.
And so now we know it's like, nope, she's hungry. And the second you give her food, she's just like, thank you guys. So no, she's very sweet. We still have to take her to the vet, but we realized right away that she was okay. Like
we realized that she was a gift from God that fell from the sky.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because I don't know where else she would have came from. And we definitely were not looking for a cat. We already have a cat.
Pets in general are kind of like you and friends right now. I didn't have applications open.
Oh yeah.
And I said, no pets, right? I've been turning down all requests for pets lately.
Well, yeah. And I think I was even unsure of like if we should even keep her because again, we didn't plan her. Like she just showed up,
When a cat like that shows up, you have to keep her because God just brought her into your life, right?
Yeah. And she's just been doing so good, though. She's been doing good with everybody. And, like, I don't know. I think that we've had cats, so many cats in the past and have been around cats. I loved cats growing up, and my parents had cats, and there's pictures of cats on my bed all the time. Like, I'm a big cat person. But I think that I would have had expected her to be really skittish considering her situation. And she is totally not. Like she just loves being around us. And she's not even like a clingy cat. She's just real sweet. She'll let you love on her when you need to. And then she'll kind of just run off. But she's been just doing really good. The kids love her.
She's adorable. She has these really like deep, I don't know if they're blue or emerald eyes.
They're so pretty. They're blue.
Just really deep color. I haven't seen eyes like that.
Too.
Yeah. And she has a big head. Yeah. Big cute head.
Yeah.
And then this fat potato stomach,
Oh,
and then these stubby legs.
We're gonna have to put a picture.
We're gonna have to put some pictures on there. I got some on the website.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that people can do is they can send in emails to us. So you can go to info@dedicateddevoted.com.
Did you get that situated?
Or jared@dedicateddevoted.com. And so I got all that rectified, and I can get back into the email system on that. But yeah, we're definitely gonna have to put some up. But we got a new family member now, and now we still need a home, which leads us to us still continuing our journey and looking for a home. And the big news that we have, and I guess the fourth time is the charm, we found one that's just beautiful and amazing, and it's moody. It's bright and moody, which is really interesting. So it has all these dark elements to it, but it's also very vibrant and bright. And it's probably something that is more fitting to our personality that you and I just love. So we've been stalking it online. We just want to move in so bad now, and we're able to go and take a look at it together and take the kids there. And then this week we get to do inspections, which is great because then we get to wander back in there and poke at everything.
Well, and I think, again, we were talking about earlier, like checking all the boxes. I think even, when we're looking at the house on the west side, it didn't meet the standard for schools. One of the schools was rated terrible. And so this area that we're going to be moving to now, the schools are rated 8s, 9s.
Well, this is a really interesting thing. There was three houses on this road that we're interested in, and we honed in on two of them, and they were very neck and neck. And one of them was more brightish. I would call it bright and airy. The other one was more bright and moody. I'm using the word moody like kind of like for the dark side of it because it has these dark accents to it. But the interesting thing about this street is on the left side, the school districts were in Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
And on the right side, the school district was in Brandon. They're literally houses that are probably 5 to maybe max 10 houses away from each other.
Yeah.
So the one that we chose is in the school district that we want our kids to be in, which is fantastic. So that's part of it. The schools, the bedroom size or the bedrooms, I think is exactly what we wanted. It has enough bedrooms in it, but what pushed me over the edge was it has what they call a non-legal room, which means there's a room without windows, and that's going to be our podcast studio.
Yes.
How fantastic. My big goal has been to record every week, and then moving forward, what I like to do is try to get more digital content and video up. I think if we can get video up, that would be awesome, and it would make this podcast a little bit more dynamic. So we got the perfect house with a podcast studio and 2 beautiful fireplaces, and the big thing that it has that you absolutely need is what? They don't have them here. Most builders don't build houses with them anymore. Bathtubs.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. Everything's showers these days.
Yeah.
Like it's not that hard to put a bathtub in a house.
Well, that was another one on our checklist where and every house that we've looked at, like almost most of them in, most
it's
of
like
them,
9 out of 10.
Yeah,
do not have a bathtub.
They're especially in master bedrooms. So it's like, man. So I don't mind taking one in the kids, but it's they're tiny little bathtubs. So I like that. The bathtub's huge.
It's just nice having
nice
all of those little things, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're little creature comforts.
Well, they're things that you like, things that I like, and so the bath is something I've always liked.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic home. It got a big yard too, so we can do some planting, right? Grow some things. I think it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a great move for me, great move for you and the kids, and I'm really looking forward to being able to put some roots down here and call it home and have like an actual winter.
Oh yeah,
it's getting cold today, so
today
we feel that South Dakota weather rolling in, right? So hopefully we can close on this house before it gets super duper cold. So I'm just super grateful for you, for the kids, and for what God is doing in our life, the doors that He's opening. I'm sure that there's going to be some great friendships that are going to spark up with people within the neighborhood.
Well, I feel like that with the neighborhood and also the church. The church that you and I have been going to. I think when we first moved down here, we were just kind of checking out different churches. But I feel like now that we have found our church, there's people that we've met too, and we've barely even met anyone so far. You and I have kind of still stayed somewhat to ourselves. But I think as soon as we start to meet people there too, there'll be definitely a lot more friendships.
And even just spending more time together as a family has been great. And so I'm looking forward doing all of this in our new home, and we need prayer for that. We're obviously in the process of going through inspections, and then we still got to go to closing and all that good stuff. But God's just doing some really great things in our life, and I'm sure if this house didn't work out, He'd have something even better for us, right?
Yeah.
I know that was one of your fears about talking about this is, well, what if it didn't work out? And I'm like, well, if it doesn't work out, we got to eat our own dog food and say, it's okay. There's going to be something better that's coming along. And so I definitely know God's going to take care of that. This has been a very long episode on where we're landing in South Dakota. Really appreciate everybody joining. On today's episode, we had an opportunity to just discuss how God is working in our life. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Dedicated Devoted. We aim to help others live a dedicated, devoted life. Please send in any emails that you might have, questions, comments, or concerns to jared@dedicateddevoted.com or at info@dedicateddevoted.com. We try to post an episode every week. Please join us. Thank you and God bless.